That's right. With us here in the studios now to discuss issues around that, we'll welcome Al Hassan Nuhu, as Director, Relief and Rehabilitation at the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA. Al Hassan Nuhu, we're glad to have you this morning.
Thank you very much. And also joining us via Zoom from Lokoja is Francis Udojo, NTA correspondent. Of course, our correspondent, I must say, is standing by for us there to give us an update of the situation. Shall we get started with Francis? So let's just have, that situation report. What's really happening? How bad is the situation? Is Francis up there with us?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning.
Okay, we'll get back to you.
Now, I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
No, we'll get back to you. Don't worry. Just get set. We'll get back to you. Let's come back to the studio here before we sort things out there in Lokoja. Al Hassan Nuhu, the flood situation generally is, a very bad one, a very bad story indeed. And of course, it's now reached a stage where Lokoja has been submerged. And look at the strategic location of Lokoja. Look at how important it is as a link between the south of Nigeria and the north. And here we are. What's really happening? Haven't there been so much, warnings and then notifications and things like that about what people should do?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. What we are witnessing this year is comparable only to the floods of 2012 in terms of magnitude, in terms of impact. So far, we have recorded over 300 deaths, and number of people affected has reached up to 1.5 million, with about 700,000 displaced all over the country. The warnings were issued timely, but as I've always repeated, these warnings are released recently, and they keep monitoring. Apart from the seasonal rainfall prediction, apart from the annual flood outlook, they keep monitoring the water levels. But our officers in the Abuja Operations Office went to Lokoja, went to Kogi on the 22nd of September, when the alerts came that flood is apparent.
It seems like, Alassane, just give me a break here. It seems you've gotten, Francis Udojo, our correspondent in Lokoja. Let's get let's have some first-hand information from you, Udojo. What's really happening? How is the situation, running over from yesterday to today? How bad is it, and how do you say it? What would people want to really know about it?
Well, the situation here in Lokoja, the Kogi state capital, is a very bad one. Kogi is in a bad situation right now. A lot of people have been displaced from their homes, houses have been submerged, even roads have been cut off as we speak. That of Kogi periphery is the epicenter. And as a result, a lot of people moving from the south to the north, and then from the north to the south are held down, finding it very, very difficult to get through the access. So that is the situation here, and not just in Lokoja alone. Kogi State generally, some local governments like Ida, of Igala Mela, to Ibaji, have been flooded with the people there stranded and not knowing where to go.
Are you talking about the situation at the moment? Still, the flood has not really receded for vehicles and movements to be done by people.
Well, this is how the situation has been since the past 1 week or 2 weeks now, and it's still increasing. People are finding it very difficult to get through to their destinations. Because as you can see, roads have been taken off and the alternative roads. And that is also very difficult. The alternative roads are not good enough for vehicles.
Well, Francis, if you recall, 10 years ago, there was the major flood disaster around the Lokoja axis, of course, along with some other parts of Kogi State. How does this compare to the 2012 incident?
Well, from what we've seen here and information that's relevant agencies, it shows that it's very the flood of this year supersedes that of 2012. It's not well. The damage effect, the impact is massive this year compared to that 2012.
Okay, now but let's get something clear. I mean, the arterial road from north to south and south to north around the Murtala Muhammad Bridge in Lokoja there, is the bridge submerged?
Well, the bridge has not been submerged yet, but as soon as you get off the bridge towards the Tonkarifi area, the road has been flooded. And unfortunately, vehicular movement is tough. People cannot really see the margins of the road and then to be able to navigate effectively. So they needed the help of security agencies to guide them through. And this takes a whole lot of time as they are trying to move vehicles from people coming from Abuja area down to Lokoja. They will have to stop and then allow others to move from the other side. Just like that, they're all taking turns to move, and that caused a lot of delay in the area.
Did this, Francis, did this come as a surprise? Did this come as a surprise to Kogi State residents? Or if there was any...
Of course, it has...
Go ahead, Francis.
Of course, it's a big surprise. Of course, it's a big surprise to Kogi State residents right now because they have never experienced such situation before. This is the first time that it's coming this way. It's a very difficult situation for them right now. They have never experienced things like this before, and they are stranded. They are hungry. They have no place to go. Some are sick on the road there, and there is no hospital to take care of them. Some have slept there for more than 2 to 3 days before getting to the point where they will have to navigate. It's a very serious situation that government needs to take a look at.
Francis, before we come back to the studio, let's get your views about the state government's reaction to this. Talking about SEMA, their State Emergency Management Agency, and some other emergency management agencies that could assist in that regard, even security agencies too. How are they responding to this? Talking about the ones who say spent 2-3 days in that area, and of course those who are displaced, and of course those who are sick, the young ones, the children, the elderly, and people like that who are really vulnerable to this kind of situation. How is the response from the State Emergency Management Agency, the state government generally, and of course some other agencies that could assist?
Well, one of the major agencies that have responded is that of Hyperdeck. They have really tried to see how they can get to victims by bringing succor, relief materials to these victims. So they are helpful. Apart from that, we've not seen any other organization actually coming down here to assist victims or seeing government officials going around trying to see how they can help these people. We have not seen much of that. But for Hyperdeck, I believe they have really been trying here.
Okay, Francis, thank you very much. Hassan, let's return to you and have an indication of how NEMA is mobilizing to Kogi. I don't know that a couple of weeks ago, there were reports already of some fatalities arising from the flooding around Makurdi, and this was because they said the River Benue itself was already swollen. So what is happening in Lokoja now wasn't probably unexpected. And I imagine that those who are down the river, those in Anambra State, parts of Edo Delta, those of them down the river and the estuaries, should be getting ready for their own heat. But what has happened to those around Makurdi, and then now that you're having this logjam, as it were, in Kogi State?
Well, when the water level reach a dangerous point, the DG summoned stakeholders here at the strategic level and issued a statement urging.
Okay, we will have to interject again, because our correspondent, we understand, has something else, and for us to clear with him. Francis Udojo, let's get back to you on this. In the immediate vicinity of this flooding disaster, what do we know about rescue or salvage efforts? I hope that there have been no fatalities. How are people being evacuated from the flood waters?
Can you come up with your question again? Can you come up with your question again?
Around the floodplains where you are having this disaster, how are people being evacuated or being taken out of the point of disaster? I just hope that there are no fatalities. How are they? What is the point of resettlement in the meantime?
From what we've seen so far, I think individuals on their own find a way of getting themselves out of the situation, moving to relatives, moving to friends' houses, and then maybe traveling out from the state to get a place of abode. However, set some victims and pledge to find a way to give out to.
What Francis, just one last one before we take on Al Hassan Nuhu again. All right, Francis, we understand there is a freeze on your system. Well, not about, here we are again. I didn't quite get the explanation that our colleague was providing in terms of temporary relief for those who have been impacted in the floodplains and elsewhere. Al Hassan asked the question earlier about Makurdi, where they took the first hit, the major hit, and now in Lokoja, Kogi State. Just give us a lowdown. I know the statement has been issued, but in terms of salvage or rescue,
when it became apparent that the local reservoirs are saturated already and water is coming from Lagbo Dam, Cameroon, we identify the frontline states and notify them that what is of paramount importance now is to identify higher ground and evacuate to safety. We dispatch our officers to Kogi on the 22nd of September. They met with NIWA, with the lead agency in terms of flood rescue, that is fire service, and the state SEMA. They later on met with the deputy governor and told him the outcome of that assessment and the need to evacuate to safety. In Kogi State, there are 9 local governments that are within the banks of the rivers and its tributaries, and they are all flooded. What we did was to urge for people to evacuate. There is even an IDP settlement center in Kogi, but people don't want to evacuate. As for in the area of providing suko, our materials have arrived Lokoja. They are to be distributed to people in need in those affected areas. We have dispatched food and non-food items for now. Later, we give building materials when there is a need for people to start going back to their houses. What is paramount important now is to provide food and non-food items and water, and we've dispatched our water purifying machine to Lokoja, because one of the aftermath of flood is cholera, because people will have contaminated water to drink, and that's what is happening in Maiduguri, in Gombe, in all the other places. So as a matter of urgency, what is needed is food, basic necessities like blankets, mattresses, nylon mats, and then potable drinking water. And we've deployed all these materials to Kogi State.
What happened in Benue, Makodi?
It's the same scenario. We have dispatched our items all over the 36 states of the Federation, because we know that this water, now the epicenter will move from the north to the south, and we are all over the place providing support to those.
Finally, as it is at the moment, we saw this coming even from your side there, Black Dam, for instance, and we saw it also moving down to Makodi. We also saw it coming down to Lokoja, and we can still see it now going down, all right? And all this while, you know, the question people will keep asking is, what other measures have been taken, especially now, for now? Yesterday is already gone. Especially for now, for those, for next frontline states down the south. That's the situation at the moment.
The very first thing is to evacuate safety, then provide.
For instance, Lokoja has not been evacuated because a lot of people have not moved out. What are we talking about? People in Delta and some other, you know, places now. How far have we gone in trying to address that issue there before it reaches them?
Well, you see, what we need to understand, to evacuate, the decision to evacuate is largely a local prerogative. You cannot, from Abuja, go to the local level and
force it. It's a state issue now.
It's a state issue.
Okay,
but we have a responsibility to guide them,
at least
to support them,
you have done that.
And we have done that.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much, Alasan, who Director Relief and Rehabilitation National Emergency Management Agency.
Thank you very much.
It's our pleasure. We've been talking to him about the Kogi disaster, the flood disaster, and of course, there's some other issues related to that. And we also had our correspondent in Lokoja, Udoje there, Francis, who gave us that. That's Good Morning Nigeria. We thank you so much for watching. Tomorrow is going to be another day for the program. Do join us there.
I'm Kingsley Osadola saying have a nice day.